I'm going to show you how you can teach your child their numbers simply and painlessly right now. Before we get into it, go ahead and click the red subscribe button down below because you know we all have mom brain. You're going to want to come back to this video and you're not going to be able to find it. So click the red subscribe button and let's get into the video. There are 3 key points that I'm going to cover in this video today, so make sure you watch it all the way through. I promise I'll keep it short and sweet because we are all busy moms, and then I'll offer some supplemental videos as well for anyone who wants a little bit deeper dive or more of a demonstration. The first thing to keep in mind through all of the strategies that I'm going to teach you is that you are going to start with just a couple of numbers at a time. So 1, 2, 3, if they're a complete beginner or very young, 1 through 5, 6 through 10, something like that. Chunk it into just 3 to 5 numbers at a time that you're introducing. The other important thing to know about teaching your child their numbers is that there's 2 parts to this. There's quantity and numerals, and we need to teach both and their relationship to each other. Strategy number 1 is to make math concrete or more tangible by using manipulatives. It can be any type of manipulative. It can be rocks outside. It can be printables, like just printed shapes. It can be fun little tangible things like these, or fancy little Montessori math beads. Anything, but your child needs something that they can touch, feel, move, and count. Now, it's common that we use fun little things like this and we naturally start to teach numbers when children are really small and we're just counting out things in everyday life and we're saying 1, 2, 3, and we're teaching them those numbers. But the manipulatives often get dropped when you reach about number 10. And you start getting into those bigger numbers and you stop counting all the little things out. But that's when it can be most important for your child to see the manipulatives, because those larger numbers are even less concrete and harder for them to understand. And that is why I personally love the Montessori math beads, the bead bars, because they are bars of beads with individual beads on them. So when you get to the bigger numbers, you can make bigger numbers without having 1,000 of individual pieces all over the house and getting lost. So I really like these, especially for the bigger numbers. Strategy number 2 is the 3-period lesson. Now this is when you're teaching your child, you're going to teach it in 3 stages. Step 1 is this is. It's the this is stage. This is where you're presenting the information to them and you're telling them this is 1. This is how we write the number 1. Step 2 of the 3-period lesson is where the magic happens. This is the part that often gets skipped, and it's why kids can start to struggle, and it's often why they feel like a failure and parents feel really frustrated. Parents, at the next stage, they typically start to whip out a flashcard with a numeral on it. Hello there, baby girl. And they say, what is this number? That's the wrong way to go about it. The child doesn't know yet, and they get frustrated. So this second stage in the 3-period lesson is the real magic. This is the show me stage. This is where your child has the information laid out that you've just presented to them by saying this is, you've taught it to them. Now you're going to ask them in a fun and friendly way, can you show me 1? Can you point to number 1? And you let them point to 1. Can you point to 2? Let them point. And if they point to the incorrect number, then you can just say, that's 2. Can you point to 1? Just say it again and teach them what it is that they just pointed to. The third step in the 3-period lesson is the what is phase. This is where you're asking them, what is this number? Or you're giving some sort of activity where they need to know it on their own. The important thing to know here, stop before you do this, do not move onto that stage, the third step in the 3-period lesson, unless you know for certain that your child can give you the right answer. This is not about us testing or quizzing their knowledge. This is about them just having practice for their skills. So we want to make sure before we ask them in this way that they do know the answer. And if by chance they give you an incorrect answer, again, just repeat what I said before, where you can say, that's 3. What is this number? Strategy number 3 are 3-part cards. So we just had a 3-period lesson. Now we're having a 3-part cards. There's 3 strategies in this video. Magic number of the day is 3. Let me show you what 3-part cards are if you're unfamiliar. First part is the control card. It's the card that presents all of the information. It gives them the quantity and the numeral. The other 2 parts are separate. So you have a separate quantity, separate numeral. They are exactly the same as this card. They look exactly the same so that they can be matched. So initially when you start to work with this, you are going to present all of these, the control cards, in the this is method. This is 19, you're presenting it, laying it out, whatever. Then your child can match one of the others, quantity, and they can see visually that it looks the same. Even if they're not counting it all out yet, they're starting to make connections. Then they can match the numeral as well. And the magic with the 3-part cards is that they can start to make the connections with the control still visible there for them. So they're not guessing, they're not completely in the dark. They are actually making the connections here. Then you can move on by removing the control cards once they've had lots of practice and they feel a bit more confident in doing this. Then they can lay out the quantities and try matching the numerals. And remember, even when you're doing activities like this, you're only using maybe 3 to 5 different numbers at a time, not more than that while they are still learning. Once they have mastered it and they're just kind of practicing, then they might do 10 numbers at a time. But while they're learning, 3 to 5 numbers. Keep it simple. And then after they've taken their turn at matching the numerals to the quantity, they can check their work with their control card and they can see if they've done it correctly or if they need to make any changes. They can make corrections, and then they're learning through this process. This type of lesson really helps to bridge the gap between understanding quantity, which most kids can usually get a grasp on counting quantities out. If you ask them to count 3 rocks, they will usually be able to count 3 rocks before they can recognize the number 3 written on a page and tell you that that is 3. So this type of lesson bridges the gap between those 2 skills. And you can further help them bridge that gap by presenting a card with the number 1, doing it in the this is fashion, saying, this is the number 18. Can you count 18 rocks? And then let them count. So you're telling them what this numeral is because this is a less tangible thing. They don't really understand what this is. But if you tell them what it is, and then you allow them to apply their own skills by counting, which they can do, they will start to make the connection between the 2. That's it. Those are my 3 keys, my 3 super intentional, thoughtful, and hopefully helpful strategies. I hope this helps you. And remember, click the subscribe button because I am going to do a detailed demonstration of each of these strategies in a separate video. So if these ideas or strategies are new to you, you can get a better understanding of them. You can see it in practice and exactly how you would present it and teach it to your child. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video and sharing it with your mama friends, other moms who need help. And go forth. Happy homeschooling. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.